Well, so today we are here with Rajeev sir, who's of course heading BYD in India, and he's been there for some time now, and he's seen how BYD has grown and how the customers have grown in confidence with the company. So Rajeev sir, first of all, thank you very much for joining us and giving us your time. Now, my first question straight up is, how would you describe the journey of the company so far in India?
Yeah. First of all, thank you, Ashish, for this session and I would say opportunity. Uh, yeah, so the journey for BYD in India has been quite interesting so far. For our viewers, I think many of them perhaps would not know, BYD set foot in India way back in 2007.
Okay.
Yeah, so there are few developments which
Almost
were done.
20 years, that's a
yeah.
long time.
Yeah. It happened all the way back 2007, but with commercial buses and trucks, that is the journey we have undertaken. Fast forward, when we reach 2021, it was then, when we introduced the products, the car segments, we call it passenger car segment. So 2021, I would say that was a very, very crucial and important year for us when we introduced our first car to the Indian market. And since then, I think we every year we are doing some action in the passenger car, especially electric passenger car market. And we are proud to say that we have reached, I would say, to a stage where brand is recognized.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think you're right about that. We see a lot of cars, especially in the Delhi NCR region. But there are some customers, I mean, most of them are aware. But for those of them who are not very aware of the brand still, maybe, what would you say? What is the big differentiating factor? What makes BYD so different from other EV makers out there? Because there are lots of EV makers now in the market. You have a lot of competition. How is BYD different? And why should somebody jump onto the BYD ship?
Yeah, that's a big one. Yes, from a global, I would like to answer it from a global standpoint. BYD is known as an EV player in India for sure, but globally and especially in domestic market, it is also known as the largest NEV, new energy vehicle producer and manufacturer, and so that is one thing perhaps we should tell our viewers as well. How is this company different? There is a lot of information, but today let's crystallize that. First thing first, for any company which needs to have business on a global scale, the requirement is that in order to reach out to so many market, in order to have so many products, you have to depend on third-party suppliers. So I think that is one big difference, I would say, in many of the global companies, especially vehicle manufacturers. BYD has taken a unique positioning where they have developed all these technologies, first of all, within themselves, and then most of the components of the cars, most of the technologies of the car, they are proprietary.
Okay.
So we do not have to depend on the external environment of this supply chain disruptions. So that is where we definitely have an edge.
Okay.
That is one uniqueness, I would say. Another, for a company at this scale, we are known as car manufacturers, or let's call it NEV products, but there is much more than that. There are other business verticals in the company. For example, the company focuses heavily on energy storage systems.
Okay.
The company focuses on commercial vehicles as well. There is a big vertical which focuses on electronics. So there is a cross learning and cross application of all these technologies for the cars. So that makes it unique. I really do not see any example around us where the company has the capabilities which all gets plugged in to producing a product which is superior, which is couple of examples, evidences, I would say. We can say that it has come to a point that it was lately quite popular in the news that the flash charging, which means for our viewers, I think flash charging is something which is, you can take it by the literal meaning. Typically, an electric car would require 30 minutes to 1 hour to sometimes more than 1 hour to charge through a high capacity charger. But this technology has been continuously developed, evolving, and now we are in a position at global scale. We are the only company, first company, who has been able to achieve this charging in a flash, which means to acceptable limit, let's call it 10% to 97% in 9 minutes. That is the kind of technology that BYD has been able to give to their consumers.
Okay.
But this all cannot happen only if we make cars. Okay. There are various other pieces which really helps us in reaching up to this pinnacle.
So you've got the whole ecosystem basically.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now you've given us a global perspective, you've given us a perspective on your engineering skills and what the company can do. Just also tell us about India. How big is the market for you, and where does the Indian market stand in the global scheme of things for BYD? Just give us a brief idea on that.
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's zoom in to India. That's what perhaps you are referring to. In India, it's been 4 years for us, 4.5 years. Let's call it that way. We have made sure that we introduce the best of the products which are available parallelly across the world. A big example, the latest example I would say is this car, C-Line 7.
Correct.
I think this is state-of-the-art car, and we made sure that this gets exposed to the customers as early as possible along with its global launch. So that has been our aim, and that has been our endeavor, that we introduce the latest whatever is available and whatever we can salvage and manage.
Okay.
That is what we are definitely bringing in. We are exposing our customers to the first in the segment technology, the first in the segment around EV, I would say. So that is where we are concentrating. Another focus area, which I think we had discussions prior also. You can see that all of our cars are placed in a slightly, let's call it, premium segment.
Correct.
So that is also another focus area that we are constantly exploring.
Now that's my next question, which I was coming to. You have a variety of segments that you sell cars in. Which is the biggest seller for you, if you could give us some numbers, and what kind of customers are coming in? Just tell us about the customers who are choosing your cars. Are they mostly from tier 1 cities? Are they mostly from metros? Or are there also some customers who are coming in from smaller towns? Just give a brief idea on that as well.
Yeah, sure. So the product portfolio, I would say, in the premium segment for us is diverse. There is a MPV by the name of E-Max, a popular model for us.
Correct.
Then there is a mid-size SUV, Atto 3, which was launched way back in 2023, and it's still going strong. Then came Seal, and then C-Line 7, slightly premium sedan, and then of course a premium SUV, all electric. So now, of course, these are electric cars, so we are trying to find out the suitable customers also. But coming back to your questions on what type of customers, where from they are coming, what is their need, in our analysis, what we have understood so far is that, of course, this is a technology which is, it's a new technology for last 5, 7, 8 years. It is still emerging. So our first set of customers were essentially those customers who are able to embrace, anything which is coming new.
Okay.
That still happens, but we have seen this journey now in our records, in our analysis. Then came the customers who were able to, who had some car already, but then they said, okay, why not for me another EV car from a global brand. So this was their perhaps alternate car.
Okay.
But now perhaps we are in that period that I see and meet, our team sees and meets many customers who are first time buyers.
Okay.
So you know, that has been the transition. And yes, you're right. And there are constraints around it, and that's why it is happening. Ours, you know, biggest markets are essentially those top 10 towns only of India, top 10 cities of India.
Okay.
The penetration level in the next level of cities is relatively less. That is a fact. We will not, you know, we cannot deny it. So our customers are largely located in big urban clusters.
Okay. I think you already answered my next question, which was again.
I think I'm going one step ahead of you, right?
So, you know, you have the blade technology of batteries. A lot of people, you know, in fact, aware of it. Some people are not aware of it. But what makes it so special in terms of tech that you use behind that? Because it's a very special tech you use. It's very safe also. So what is the tech that goes behind it? And what makes it so special and safe?
Yeah, this has been... thank you for this question, and I think today is the opportunity for me to really dispel if there are some confusions around it. Let's go one by one. I'll take a minute to really you know, elaborate on that. There are two terms we are calling: blade and battery, right? And we are talking, of course, in relevance to electric cars. So we are talking of a high voltage battery. So the biggest fear of any customer, let's say 5 years before, or 5, 7, 8 years before, when especially the electric vehicles were emerging in India, was about safety.
Okay.
So that is number one, you know, objection, or I would say number one, you know, difficulty which any customers who wanted to adopt to an electric vehicles: will I be safe? Second objection, or the second challenge which most of the customers in electric vehicle today, of course, it's a narrative, you know, which continues, that will I be able to reach to my destination with
range anxiety,
with the limited anxiety, let's say. So the blade battery is the solution which BYD gave to, I would say, to the electric vehicle space. It's safe, and why do we say it's safe? Because it uses a chemistry, lithium iron phosphate, and I would say any car which has a lithium iron phosphate would be relatively safer to some other chemistries, let's say NMC and etc. So blade battery is definitely uses a chemistry which makes it safe, but that's where it does not stop. We talked of you know, reliability and durability. So that comes from some other factors which are to do with let's say how it is packed. And that's where the blade term comes in. You just imagine that, you know, we are talking of a car which has got blades. So this makes it very efficient packing, very structurally very durable. There are other methods to pack battery cells which are cylindrical, prismatic, but I think blade design itself gives it absolute strength. The chemistry gives us a very high thermal capacity to you know, to catch fires and all. So you know, those kind of things is largely to a general customers we should be able to, we are trying to explain everyone that here is a car, here is a battery, here is a blade battery which is very structurally capable. There are some evidences you might have heard in the news that a 46-ton passes through it, nothing happens. Yes, that is true. There is something called a nail penetration test. You know, you just pierce a nail through the entire battery pack, it does not catch fire. So those are the evidences that perhaps should be spoken more and more. And this is a proprietary design, this is a copyright design, and that's not all. Ashish, blade battery to 2021 approximately. But then today we are standing at blade battery 2.0. That means, further stability, further capacity to handle lower temperatures going up to minus 30 degrees. So, that is why perhaps we say that arguably this is the biggest invention in electric vehicle space. I would like to take claim and credit for this.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Now the EV market in India, it's growing, but it's not growing exponentially. There's a very small, the pace has dropped in the last couple of years. What do you think are the biggest challenges? Is it from the customer side, or is it from the raw material sourcing side, or is it the price point? Because even if you see the ICE to EV conversion, if you see the cars like, you're not in that segment, but still, the petrol cars compared to the ICE cars, or EV cars rather, are a lot more expensive. So what do you think is the big challenge, and where is the customer, stuck? So what do you think about that in terms of challenges that the EV industry faces overall and in general?
Yeah, good question for India. Yes, I would agree that perhaps 5 years before, some analysts made forecast that it will grow exponentially. That has not happened, but I would differ slightly with your statement that last couple of years it has faded or it is degrowing. It's not. The statistics would say that roughly around 100,000 cars in 2024, electric vehicles, everybody put together in India. And 2025 ended with approximately 180 to 185,000 cars. So, this is not a double-digit growth. This is 2x growth.
No, I mean to say in the whole perspective of the Indian auto, the overall sales.
Yeah. The growth is there for sure. Yes, it is not multifold. It is not 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. But I think it is an emerging, I would still say that this is emerging technology. This has to be, adopted by, and we are living in India, right? So India poses some unique challenges. The biggest challenge, it was there, it has come down, is about charging infrastructure density. So that has, I think more or less in metro cities we are all right. I live in Delhi. I can really go out of my home and be sure that if I am within Delhi, that nothing is an issue. I would say, and this is a request again, central government has held on to a clear policy, which is towards the GST benefit. But state-wise, we see some challenges and instability of policies, especially with respect to registration taxes, which really makes it customer is not really sure tomorrow what is going to happen. So that holds purchase decisions are held, and if there is a stable policy for a little more time, I think this growth, which both perhaps you and me both want to happen more and more, and I would also say that, would like to add that now everybody has joined the race. More than 10 manufacturers who were not there 5 years before. Now there are 10 OEMs or 10 brands which are, so it is not going to stop. That is my personal assessment. The only way perhaps we are able to contribute is that we've held on to electric vehicles. We have kept our position very, very clear. We are hopeful that this is the space where eventually we will all go together. I'm not sure whether you've heard it or not. A couple of days before, there was a big release. Not only on the Delhi policy, of course, there is something which has come as a draft, but couple of days, perhaps a bigger and far-reaching consequence. I'm talking of CAFE 3.0. So there is a draft release of that document also.
Correct.
And if we interpret, decipher, and extrapolate based on these two documents, one is of course Delhi policy, but then there is a CAFE norms. Till 2037, this is becoming very clear that everybody has to join this. to really hold on to those kind of emissions of carbon dioxide per kilometer, which are coming drastically by 20% every Cafe 1 to Cafe 2 to Cafe 3, and there is a talk of Cafe 4 already drafted in the policy. So therefore I feel that it's a matter of time, then it will become very, very quick.
Okay, okay. Now, talking about the policy that you just mentioned, the Delhi policy, I was going to come to that later. But is it going to make a big difference, the draft which has come out from the Delhi government, to your sales, or is it going to affect the overall EV market space? What do you think about that?
I don't think there is going to be a. First of all, it's a Delhi policy, but Delhi is Delhi. It represent what perhaps would be coming to other bigger markets. So that's a very clear policy which says that, I've of course read the draft of it. It's not yet implemented. Maybe 1 month down the line, there is implementation is going to happen. The policy is, I would say, overall favoring electric vehicles. Yes, there is a mention of above 30 lakhs. There is going to be a higher taxation over a period of time. It's more about the policy stability, and Delhi government policy is saying that 2030. So there is a 4-5 years road available to everybody, so everybody can adjust based on that. And we feel that it might be it's not even a hiccup, I would say. The pace at which we are growing and the pace at which the other brands are going on electric vehicles, it will not be deterring.
Okay. Also, do we see BYD manufacturing cars in India anytime later in the long run? Because then you'll get more production capacity and you'll probably have bigger market share of the EV space. Is that something you're looking at?
Yeah, I think I would like to hold on to that at this point of time.
Okay. Now, talking about the future, where do you think, we mentioned 5 years ago there were hardly any players, 2-3 players were there. Now you've got 10 players. What do you predict in the next 5 to 10 years, let's say, is the EV landscape going to look? Right now there's about 4% market share, 4.5% market share. Where do you think is it going? Is it going to grow exponentially? A lot more players are coming in. You've also got some rivals coming in from another group. MG is already quite big. What do you think is going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years in the EV space overall?
Yeah, if you are looking for a specific number, I think it's very, very difficult to.
In terms of percentage, maybe the overall
percentage. Right now, look at India. India is a very, very. When we say India is diverse, it's not just a word. Actually, it is diverse.
Correct.
There is, there are bigger states, there are bigger markets, there are smaller states, there are the intercity distances. Which matters. So I would say that 5 years down the line, India will continue to have multi, powertrain options and fuels. That is going to stay. How they will settle, whether it will be 25 ICE and 25 EV and 25 CNG and 25 hybrid, perhaps that could be the best situation where every customer need based on their requirement is taken care of. So perhaps that is what should prevail.
Okay. And my final question is that somebody who's still a fence sitter, maybe somebody who's still planning to buy an EV, but still, there's a little bit of reluctance in terms of the anxiety, range anxiety and infrastructure and stuff like that. What will you tell them why they should buy an EV, and more specifically, why should they come and buy a BYD car?
We've spoken about the benefits which comes with EV. I think they are not only out in public, but they have been experienced now. The benefits of a faster car, it is faster. The benefits of cost of ownership. The benefits of this car being more stable. The car has a very from a tailpipe emissions point of view, no emissions. So those benefits applies to all.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But when it comes to, let's say, why should a customer go in for a BYD? And we spoke about it, and perhaps I can summarize now. It is a new technology, and to take a leap of faith on a new technology requires some confidence. So the confidence what BYD can definitely give to our customers is that these cars which uses a high voltage battery, these are extremely safe. These are the safest battery. We can vouch for it. That is number one. Number two, because of the not only battery, but because of the development and research that has been undertaken for last 30 years, exclusively focusing only on this technology, I think we have come to a point that we can give a very clear confidence to the customer that if we are saying that this car has a range of 500, it is approximately to that level.
Okay.
So the range confidence for BYD, we can assure that this is going to be in the ballpark range of the certified or the claimed range. The safety is definitely paramount since it's an EV car. So these are perhaps overarching two things which can say surely, and we are available in now more than multiple cities through 50 showrooms. Check out a showroom nearby your place, and these all showrooms are supported by a dedicated workshop facility where customers' requirements can be addressed. And that's our current phase, which we are really looking forward to, not only getting the car closer to the customer, but also working internally to improve our systems which can provide a superior customer experience.
Okay. Well, on that note, Rajeev sir, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ashish.
And I wish you all the best in your journey ahead with BYD. Guys, if you're planning to buy any luxury or high-end EV, then I think you should definitely check out BYD cars. I've tested them, we've driven them, and I really enjoyed the overall experience. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
And guys, do subscribe to our channel, and also stay tuned for more podcasts on this channel. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.